This is the saddest Futurama episode to ever exist. The second episode of season 5 being Jurassic Bark, which unfortunately doesn't include Chris Pratt. The very first scene of the episode has Bender in his apartment practicing magic tricks with his assistant Fry, making sure they're ready for an upcoming magic show. The performance starts off strong, but well, you can see for yourself. As Fry notices a museum with a familiar looking fossil in the newspaper, he asks Bender to check it out with him to show the life he used to live before they met.
Let's go check it out. You can see how I lived before I met you.
But like every other episode, Bender is surprised that Fry had a life before him. Typical robot. So they venture out to the museum and walk into the pizzeria reconstruction area, where Fry used to work back in the 2000s. As he sees a guide giving false information to a crowd about the ins and outs of the pizzeria, Fry instantly calls out the woman for her inaccuracy, saying how not only did they used to paddle their butts, but used it in the making of the pizzas. And for no reason, she decides to tell Fry her life story as if that will help her in the argument.
I am a volunteer housewife with 45 minutes of orientation and a Harlequin romance about archaeologists.
This guide is insane to think that would help her. Anyway, Fry looks around at some of the fossils until he realizes one of them looks exactly like his old pet dog Seymour, who he found back in the day when he was working as a pizza delivery boy. Following the story from the past, he notices an underfed dog hiding in the shadows and tells it he likes him after giving him a slice of pizza. Well done, Fry. Right away, they develop a strong connection, strong enough for the dog to follow Fry as he bikes away to deliver more pizza. Cutting back to the future, we see Fry getting upset that his former pet was being showcased in the museum, and decides to use Bender to break open the glass and rescue his pet fossil dog thing. And you'll never guess what happens next. Yep, he gets thrown out of the museum without the fossil. I'm not sure why he thought this was going to work out, but it was worth a shot, I guess. So after heading back to the apartment, they explain the whole situation to their friends. Professor Farnsworth, who comes up later in the film, gives him some friendly advice to go and protest to get his dog back. I mean the fossil dog thing. Bender says that protesting never works, but Fry ignores him and heads back to the museum. Keep note of this interaction. Later in the episode, Fry is dancing to his people's native dance, as he likes to call it, hoping it will help his protests. Sounds legit, but personally, I'm not sure if that's going to help. Going back to the past, Fry's dog is welcomed in the pizzeria, where he's cleaned off by one of the cooks using the pizza dough. I honestly shouldn't be surprised by this, because after that, the dog is seen swimming in the pasta sauce where he takes a dump.
You can do 2 things at one time, eat and swim. Ooh, 3 things.
As we come to the present, 3 days have passed since the start of the protest. Fry looks exhausted. Out of the blue, we are greeted by the man who discovered his pet fossil and tells Fry that they can't just give him away. Fry uses the power of communication to talk about Seymour and how he used to chase the 29th bus. And just like that, they hand him his dog back with no regrets. Moving along, we meet up back home, where Bender is performing his, magic. And Fry explains how they can clone the fossil to bring his dog back to life. The gang is happy for him, but the camera pans over to Bender, who feels like he's about to lose his best friend to a dog. Does anyone else feel uneasy seeing a robot that has feelings like humans? Or is that just me? Later on, we see how Professor Farnsworth explains how Fry's dog will remember everything about him, which makes Bender that much more angrier. Traveling back in time, we watch the most unfortunate story unfold. Fry gets told to deliver pizza on New Year's Eve, which in turn makes him upset, but decides to deliver it anyway. On the way out of the pizzeria, Seymour is tugging his pant leg as if he's trying to tell him to stay, but Fry calls it off and tells him to stay put. The dog is right to be worried because when Fry goes to deliver the pizza, he gets trapped in the time-traveling chamber, leaving Seymour behind on the sidewalk. You'd think this is the saddest moment, but wait to see what happens at the end. After the episode cuts back to the present, Fry is getting ready to bring his dog back into the world and buy some food, toys, and a collar, which Bender thinks is all for him. This is when Bender confronts Fry about the dog and how inferior it is to him. They argue back and forth about the situation before Bender finally decides to leave the scene. After that, Bender comes back with a dog of his own, but it's a robot. Well, that's not surprising. Anyway, Bender tries to justify why his dog is better than Fry's, but he totally ignores him until the professor announces the cloning phase is ready. Bender gets so mad that he kicks and breaks his cyborg dog after a sad attempt to make Fry jealous. Firstly, when was making someone jealous ever a good idea? And secondly, what did the cyborg dog ever do to him?
Robo-puppy mistreatment alert! Robo-puppy mistreatment alert!
Back at the laboratory, they head deep into the Earth's core to conduct the experiment, where they need the power of lava to supply energy for the cloning process. Wait, that was real? That really happened? I guess it is all part of the story as we see the fossil of Seymour being electrified. Out of nowhere, Bender approaches Fry and tells him they have to perform at the talent show. I honestly don't think Bender understands the meaning of reading the room. Fry tells him to leave him alone, and this is when we see the biggest friendship betrayal of all time. Bender grabs the fossil mid-process and throws it into the lava pool in hopes of destroying it. Fry is completely shocked as Bender tells him he's all he's got now. What a twisted way to think. In a turn of events, the professor states that the dog may still live since the fossil is made of a strong enough material called dolomite that can survive the high temperatures of the lava. Fry's over his head about the idea and decides to try and jump into the lava to save him, forgetting he will literally melt to death. Thankfully, his friends save him before he can make it to the lava and give him the hard truth that killing himself won't bring his dog back. All hope seems lost for Fry as he's bawling his eyes out at the lava pool. Bender walks up and comforts him, saying how he assumed Fry was trying to toy with his emotions. He finally realizes what he did was wrong and apologizes to Fry. To make it up to him, he dives into the lava pool to try and save the fossil. We travel back in time to where Seymour finds and leads his family to Fry, who's frozen in the chamber. And somehow they don't realize their son is right in front of them, stuck in the cryopod. Just like that, they drag Seymour away, where we are put back into the present. Fry is crying about how he had his best friend risk his life to save his dead dog. In perfect timing, Bender shoots up out of the floor with the fossil in his hand, leading to the continuation of cloning Seymour. After extracting his DNA, Fry notices that his dog lived 12 more years after he was frozen, making him question his decision to bring him back to life.
Stop the cloning.
With a change of heart, he destroys the cloning machine with the idea that Seymour must have lived a happier life after him. At this exact moment, we find out what really happened, and it's tragic. Seymour is seen sitting on the side of the road where Fry told him to wait before he left to deliver his last pizza. Seasons pass with Seymour waiting for his best friend to someday return to him. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Futurama videos just like this one.